We got here by 40 years of bipartisan leaders selling our industrial base to foreign countries, allowing low-wage immigrants to come in and compete with Americans for jobs, by destroying the foundation of the middle class.
Be careful.
Well, J.D. Vance was on top of it yesterday. Unfortunately for us as Americans, this is about 39 years too fucking late that some American president or veep told the truth about the fucking globalists and how they eviscerated our economy and our country. Our standard of living should be at least 60 to 80% better than it is today. But for the fucking Bushes, Clintons, every fucking one of them, Obama, that motherfucker, Joseph, can I fuck my own people better, Biden, right? And why are none of them being hauled in front of the Congress and Senate and eventually sent to fucking prison for what they've done? Any one of us goes out today and robs a fucking bank. If the bank had any cash, what would they do to you? Right? But the Clintons and the Bushes, 90,000 factories. 90,000 factories. Not jobs, factories sent to China and Mexico. Because, they love us so much. China went from 50 years ago, their main travel mode in their cities was rickshaws. They have the most modern subways, airports, automobile manufacturing in the fucking world. And how are we doing in Dearbornistan, where we elect Muslim communist mayors and senators? How we doing? Because while they sent our jobs overseas, that wasn't good enough. They brought in illegals to work for pennies on the dollar. And the stupid fucking union workers in America kept voting for Democrats. Can you fucking imagine? I used to work in the construction business, selling equipment, heavy equipment. And I'd go to these job sites, even at West Point, and you'd see all these idiots driving Toyota pickup trucks and Nissan pickup trucks and telling you how great the Clintons are. While all the jobs were going on. It's interesting. They would build certain buildings, and this is in the Hudson Valley, New York. I remember they built a pilot truck stop. Within hours, they had a giant rubber rat, a 12-foot tall rat, because the workers didn't like the fact that this company hired non-union construction people from Tennessee. That pissed them off. While they were voting for the same Democrats that were sending all the union jobs, automobile jobs, to China and Canada and Mexico. I'm astounded that it took this long for someone to get up and admit it. I've been bitching about this since the late 80s. We went through the Gordon Gekko phase of consolidation. And my industry had 350 mills at one time producing flooring material, got deduced and seduced to three mills left. One being Shaw Industries, those scumbags who sold anybody on the street. And then Home Depot came along and he said, well, sorry people, but it's fuck your buddy week. And while this was going on, all this consolidating, and by the way, who bought Shaw? The consolidating never ends. We've been reduced. Oh, that would be Warren Buffett, the Wizard of Omaha, that scumbag. A communist capitalist. Yeah. This is what's happened. And now we've got these liars like Mandami promising free bus rides and free food at grocery stores. Where's he getting the money? Hochul. Shutting down any option of data centers in New York. And what did she do yesterday? She barred the local police departments from helping ICE. Because, hey, we got to make sure those illegal aliens that come and sell your children fentanyl are protected. And you can't afford your mortgage? Fuck you. We're putting them up in luxury apartments and hotels. like they did in the town of Newburgh off of Route 17K. 300 of the motherfuckers were put up in a brand new hotel. I got to tell you, if that isn't fucking treason, treason never existed. This is treason. High crimes and misdemeanors. And they worry about the Trump family making money through their construction around the world. That don't offend me. That doesn't offend me. If Hunter Biden had provided a true service other than selling favor and selling out America to the Ukrainians, to the Chinese, if he had done something constructive in his own business, in his own world, to get himself enriched without directly screwing American taxpayers, I wouldn't have given a shit. But you look at what Democrats do. They excoriate Trump. Look what they do. Hillary Clinton went down and fucked the Haitian people out of anything they could have hoped to have. Yeah, that's Hillary. Because you know what Hillary, the bitch on wheels, knew? There's no fucking money in Haiti. I'm going to fuck these people sideways. For whatever they got, I'm going to take. I'll even beat the Catholic Church. Let's talk truth, people. Wherever a Catholic priest takes a shit, out comes a pack of communists. There's one Catholic I remember that fought communism. That was Pope Paul from Poland, because he saw what those bastards did to his people. But this new Pope, this new fag from Chicago, an appendage of Pritzker, and you people, I got a buddy, he's a deacon church, in a Catholic church, he goes every week and tells me, this week the priest, what did he say? The priest said, anybody that supports President Trump is against Catholicism. Imagine that. I wonder if the liberals are going to demand that the Catholic Church be taxed as a political entity. You better know who your enemy is in America. And for too long, it's been our own government without any reprise, without any justice. The Faucis. Look, I hate what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I listen to everybody from Candace Owens and Jimmy Dore, and they're all going on about conspiracies and airplanes and, oh, Christ almighty. But Fauci killed millions. The left-wingers in America, along with their communist Chinese lab allies, killed millions. And how many people lost their homes, their jobs? How many families were destroyed? How many kids, and I use the word literally, were retarded in their intellectual growth as young kids because they were being told they had to wear a mask, which the government admitted didn't do anything to prevent the spread of COVID, but did stifle their oxidizing and their ability to communicate properly, because without knowing how to form words properly, you cover up the human face. You can't do that. And now we wonder why these kids, their lives started right around 9/11 till now, and younger, they can't read. They can't do simple math. They can't do anything with geography. They know nothing about, what year was the War of 1812? Oh, that was like, I don't know, 500 years ago. What country is the capital city, Mexico City? Oh, that's South America. I watch this stuff, I can't believe it. This is Kennesaw College in Georgia. They've been retarded by our evil government. And again, for all this devastation and destruction against our country, our people, none of them go to jail. None of them.
What you believe, and be careful what you wish for as a result of that belief, because we now have the evidence that I'm pretty sure they didn't want you to know about. It's funny how this keeps being a pattern, hey? Carney made some pretty big claims today until, of course, you fact check them, which we will do. I'm Jasmine Lane. Like this video, it's helping a lot in the algorithm right now. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Comment your thoughts down below. Share it, hype it, all of that stuff. It really does help a lot.
This Canadian lady's a genius.
Canada's leaders are nasty. And yes, of course, Canadians are melting down, but he may be onto something that a lot of people avoid talking about because they're scared.
Things are getting worse, and worse because of you liberals who keep on supporting these damn people in power for the liberals. Us conservatives haven't been in power for a decade, okay? That's why Canada's up. Why don't we give it a try? Why don't we just give it a shot? Give it a shot. Vote conservatives in and let's see if something changes. Because clearly you liberals don't know what the is happening.
Not a girl.
You don't know what to do.
Come and live in America, darling.
But I don't think that that's actually the real full story. And if we stop there, we miss the thing that actually matters a lot, that can help us in changing the outcome of our country, right? Because this isn't a story of people who are just so dumb that they keep voting for failure. It is so much darker and so much more deliberate than that. It is how tribal identity gets built, who benefits from keeping you in one, which foreign adversaries are also playing on that because they go through social media and the news too, and why the people running that play never ever seem to pay the price for it, get blamed for it, or even be held accountable for not calling it out.
Like, how does that?
Well, our communist globalist media for 50 and actually more goes back to Kennedy when Walter Cronkite lied about who killed Kennedy. We had a Marxist named Lee Harvey Oswald. Gun in his hand, prints all over the gun. And what did the media, including Walter Cronkite, what did they try to conflate immediately? Last week, there were stones pelting Adlai Stevenson, the champion of the left, by the way, ran for president in the late 50s. And Adlai Stevenson was being protested because those Christian people in Texas that read their Bible and were so bad, having read Revelation, knew that this UN thing was very similar to the description of this thing that God would hate. It's in the book of Revelation. That would say, we're going to bring peace to the world through humanism. That's the devil. And those good Texans who read their Bible every day understood what a threatening thing the UN was. Gee, I wonder, 70 years later, how right were they? I think they were pretty much spot on. Name a war that the UN prevented or stopped. You can't. But they became surrogate slaves to the evil globalists, along with the WHO and all these other criminal organizations, the trilaterals, all of them. Government whores, sponsored by the Rothschilds, the Soroses, and the Bank of London, England. That's who's behind all this Canadian shit. That's the English crown with all their faggoty minions desperately trying to hang on to power. They can't abide that Britannia doesn't rule the waves. They've been reduced. They are now toy boats in a bathtub. And Canada, those useless pricks, they don't even have a military. They live in freedom because of the grace of the American taxpayer. Our defense systems protect Canada. You imagine being able to live in a country that doesn't have to pay a farthing for defense, and they're still economically fucked because the mafia in Quebec and in Ontario fist screws the people from Saskatchewan and Manitoba and Alberta, where all the raw materials come from. They won't even let them sell the amount of oil needed to support the economy because they're too busy stealing. It's like the mafia. They don't care that your delicatessen doesn't make money. They're going to take whatever you have. Go ahead and complain to them. They'll break your thumbs and then you'll put a bullet in your head. That's the same thing as the globalist governments. And Europe, another prophecy of Revelation, this thing that would grow out of the Roman Empire, the feet of miry clay, that could never agree on anything. Well, how many nations are in Europe and none of them speak the same language? That don't work too good. We can't get Americans on the same page. And we supposedly only speak one language, but press one to speak English, because that's another thing the globalists love. Divide and conquer. And in Canada, where they call the French people frogs, right? That's what they call the French. But they're going to pretend like Quebec and Ontario are all on the same page against Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's the evil one. He wants American people to prosper. He wants you to have more freedom. He wants you to be able to own a gun to defend your life. Can you imagine that? What's the left want? Gun-free zones like Andrew Cuomo, Governor Happy Hands, who couldn't keep his hands not just off of women, he groped a female trooper. And my buddy was the head of the people who protected him. I know. You can't believe what I know. Got another buddy, ran the electronics lab in the FBI. You want me to tell you what I know about those bastards? Because they're all getting paid. And what they don't get in a paycheck, they steal even more. And then they get set up for retirement in their 50s, where they get some bullshit job and they make more money than they made working for the FBI. Or they get somebody to write them a bogus book. Our government has been working against the taxpayers of this country for 60 fucking years. And it's finally coming out. And unless the Comeys, McCabe's, the John Brennan's, communist head of the CIA, can you imagine? The Georgie Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, all of them, and especially Biden and his son, if they don't go to prison, we do not have a republic. You don't have justice, you don't have a republic. I descend from Greeks. This is in my blood. You don't go to the pub and bitch over a beer. You make things right. And you got to give a shit. And you have to be enlightened. And you have to educate yourself. And you better know history or you have no idea what's going to come to you. Because everything you have in your life in the way of an experience has happened 1 billion times before. And we let these bastards get away with it, and then good men come along and the left-wing media calls them bad. This wonderful lady from Canada is calling it all out. I hope you people all share and like what she says, because she's sticking up for you.
Well, the way that it works, and this is exactly what El Sayed and these limousine socialists are actually selling to the American people. They're not promising you industry. They're not promising you good jobs. They're not promising self-sufficiency and a good industrial economy. What they're promising is redistribution. Again, we've seen this in Europe and in the United States. The idea that you can build real prosperity by just redistributing assets from one group to another group, that's not how you build real prosperity. You have to actually sustain the foundation of the economy. That is what the President of the United States has worked us towards for the past 18 months. It's going to continue to pay dividends. But I think, again, Laura, this is an important point. A lot of Americans look at this rising tide of socialism and say, how did we get here? We got here by 40 years of bipartisan leaders selling our industrial base to foreign countries, allowing low-wage immigrants to come in and compete with Americans for jobs, by destroying the foundation of the middle class. That's how you got socialism. How you fix that problem is by doubling down on Donald Trump's economic nationalism, not going back to the way we've done things for the past 40 years.
These left-wingers, though, that did this will tell you about generational wealth. How poor is little Miss Chelsea Clinton, or whatever her name was, right? She's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. How well off is the Biden clan? Obama, how many mansions is he up to? Came to the Senate with no money, and in 30 years is worth over $100 million? That sounds reasonable. And they do it right in front of you. The legacy of Diogenes, a dog, is more honorable than a man. Because if a dog wants to defecate, copulate. He don't give a shit who's watching. That's a liberal. That's who invented the book of cynicism, was Diogenes. Looked like George Carlin. And George Carlin spoke like Diogenes, and I always laughed about that. The owners, they own you. Well, these owners, in the name of capitalism, are communists. And we need to rise up against anybody who sends a job out of our country to some foreigner, who brings a foreigner to take the job from some American citizen. And you got to take it like they're doing it to you. And what JD just talked about is like you going over and putting a gun to your neighbor's head and demanding all his money. And then you go around telling everyone how successful you are. Because that's what the left wing has done. And that's what they always do. That's what the Bolsheviks did. That's what the French Commune did, that took down King Louis and Marie Antoinette. And they slaughtered thousands of people under Marat and Robespierre. And then they lost their heads. Just like the original Bolsheviks. They slaughtered other communists, and then they lost their heads. Because that's what gangsters do. When John Gotti came along and replaced Big Paul Castellano, the mob didn't become more sane. They didn't become more civil. Evil replacing evil is evil. And that's what the left wing has always produced, evil. Democrats, the slave owners in the South that became the new plantation owners through government. Same ethos. They tell black people how much they love them. They hate them. Even black left-wingers hate them. Go see if Obama lives around the brothers. No, he goes up to Martha's Vineyard. See? Their hypocrisy is endless. So, I hope you all listen to this lady, get her name, because she's terrific. And thank God for JD, because he laid it out pretty good. And God bless America.